Hey everyone, John Lorden here with a Brainscratch Searchlight update. Man, been a bit of a heavy week for Searchlight updates. We have another one to discuss today, and that is Timothy Cunningham. And once again, I have to look into this camera and share bad news with everyone out there. He has been found, but he is no longer alive. Let's jump into some details here and discuss what has occurred. Over at kstp.com, Timothy Cunningham was found drowned in a river not far from his house. He was found Tuesday, partially submerged in water and mud on the west bank of the Chattahoochee River in northwest Atlanta. Rescue crews had to use boats and special equipment to reach Cunningham's body because it was in difficult terrain in a remote area, not easily accessible. I have some questions about where his body was found in terms of mainly how did he get there. We're going to crack into more details here and see if we can get any type of better understanding there. In terms of who found him, fishermen first discovered Cunningham's body and called authorities. And I believe that there was two separate fishermen that wound up calling the authorities once they discovered his body. Jumping over to CNN.com, here we have a picture of Timothy. There were no signs of foul play. There has been a press conference that has been done on this. I watched the whole thing. They had the medical examiner speaking about this as well. She was basically noting that there was, even though they needed to use dental records to identify him, in terms of wounds to the body, there didn't seem to be any wounds. So at this point, they're assuming that there was no foul play involved. The preliminary cause of death is drowning. Fulton County Chief Medical Examiner Dr. Jan Gorniak told reporters. The manner of death has not been determined, she said. And what she means by that is, obviously, we know that he drowned, but did he do this to himself? Was this an accident? Did he fall in some way? That's the what's still being determined, and they're not sure at this point. Authorities made a positive ID of the remains by using dental records. Police are awaiting a final report from the medical examiner, but unless new information comes forward, the investigation is expected to conclude soon, officials said. And I know some people are kind of questioning how that is phrased, and especially the way the guy said it in the press conference. And I get it. I get that it's probably worth questioning a little bit. But if you look at the conditions that they're talking about at this point, guy goes missing. All his stuff is left at home. I mean, his cell phone, his wallet. He's found in running shoes, which we haven't quite got to yet. There's a reasonable conclusion that could happen here, which is he went out for a run, had some kind of accident, something happened, and he wound up injured possibly in the water. It's kind of tough because the medical examiner really is saying that there didn't seem to be any injuries there. So it could also lead you to believe that he went out with the intent of harming himself in some way. So it's tough for me to look at this and to say, hey, you know, this sounds like police are trying to back off of this too quick, because in terms of the hard facts and information that we know about this case, in particular, in light of some things his parents have said that just came out over the past week, the conclusion seems to be drawing itself. And for some people, I get why they're suspicious of that. But for me personally, just looking at these details, this either seems like a tragic accident or that something was severely wrong in his life and he didn't want to be a part of it anymore. Both of them horrible, horrible things to have happened. Cunningham's family released a statement Thursday night saying, quote, "We sincerely thank all of you for the support and kindness you have shown our family during this difficult time. We are processing this incomprehensible loss and request time and space to grieve." And I know I probably speak for many of you out there when I say my heart goes out to them. I can't imagine what they're going through, having to deal with this. Even if they did have some idea that something wrong was going on in his life, or that he might have been being bothered about something severely, to actually have this type of outcome, to be facing it at this point, and to have so many questions that you might not ever get the answer to, it's a really tough place for a person to be in, and we're all definitely sympathizing with you. Cunningham was also known to be a jogger and was wearing his favorite jogging shoes when he was found. According to O'Connor, Cunningham was also an avid collector of crystals, and 3 were found in his pocket. The condition of the body is consistent with Cunningham having been in the river since he first went missing, Gorniak said. Now, at this point, I just wanted to touch on the possibility that this was an accident. It's strange because he says that he's leaving work because he's not feeling well. And we still aren't clear about that story because the CDC has come out and said he was never denied any promotion. We just promoted him last July. And even when I made my first video, I was noting that discrepancy, saying it's weird because I'm finding information that he was just promoted in July, but there's this other information coming from the police saying that he was denied a promotion and he was so upset by that he decided to leave for the day. I could tell you from personal experience, being someone, I consider myself a runner, when something really bothers me emotionally, yeah, I love to go out for a run. It's one of the best ways of trying to kind of clear my head and get away from that. So it would make sense to me that if he was upset and that was his reason for leaving work, that he might have gone home, thrown on his running shoes, left his keys and wallet at home. What I'm curious about there was, would he have still had a way to get back into the house? Like, did he have a garage door opener or one of those key systems where you punch a number to open your garage door or something like that? I don't know. For me personally, I kind of typically take at least a house key with me. I usually take a cell phone with me in case something does happen to me in terms of me being hurt, but I never take my wallet. Obviously, it's too big and bulky. I do usually keep a copy of my identification on me in a little running pouch where I keep my cell phone. So, for example, if something like this had happened to me and you went through my house, you would find my wallet still there. You might find like my car keys still there because sometimes I take literally only the house key. I literally separate it from everything else. It would look quite a bit like this. So I'm still struggling personally with, are we looking at a situation where this was accidental or not? The crystals is interesting to me. I know that some people look to crystals for some type of energy for them. I don't know. It's strange because considering that he's a scientist, it's a little bit of an interesting twist in terms of his personality. I'd really like to know more about what this meant to him. Were these just charms to him that he thought would make it more enjoyable for him to run, or gave him some extra enthusiasm or power or focus while running or something like that? It's possible. I really don't know. It's one of the more interesting aspects of this story. Outside of that, I just want to touch on the information that came out just over the past couple days. Cunningham's parents, Tia and Terrell Cunningham, recently said they shared a worrisome series of text messages and a phone call with their son on the evening of February 11th. Quote, "We've shared that with the detectives and we've kept that as a private matter," his father said. "As a parent, you have indicators when things are just not right with your child," and that was the case. Still, I don't know if that points towards him possibly wanting to end his life for some reason. It could be that he was so upset or didn't focus enough that he once again got into an accidental situation. Or it could be that this was something very dramatic, very serious, that did make him feel like he didn't want to be here anymore. Unfortunately, the parents are being very tight-lipped about this. I imagine we're probably not going to get much more of an explanation. I think that they would have shared that publicly when initially, or even when they decided to share that with the investigators. So I wouldn't really expect to hear too much more in that case. However, if there are any updates, if anything else changes in terms of autopsy information, or if the investigation takes a new direction for some reason, I will certainly let you guys know about it. At this point, the investigators are saying it seems like it's going to close itself out unless there's some dramatic information that pops up, and they will, what they call, deactivate the case, probably within a month. So I don't know. Unless something else happens, I really don't know. I also want to give a quick shout out to Gray Hughes and Davey Crocko, both people that are in this YouTube space with me, have been reporting on this over the past few days. If you guys want to get some more in-depth opinion and coverage on this, I highly recommend their channels. I'll have links to their channels in the description box below. They're both people that I talk with through internet, but pretty much on a personal level. And I really appreciate their work. I can't say I always agree with them. I can't say they always agree with me, but we are all kind of in the same group of trying to help these cases by raising exposure. And I really appreciate how quickly they were reporting on some aspects of this case. So you might want to check them out. Thank you so much for spending some time with me on this update. 3 of these updates like this in less than 2 weeks. It's been a bit heavy, but I really appreciate you out there that care about these stories like I do. Thank you so much for being part of this with me. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you back here on the Lord and Arts channel.